we can start.
Okay, let me see the gallery view, so I see all of you. All right, so welcome to everybody. We are now 22 people and we had more than 70 people registered, so I hope some more people will join. But in any case, let's say this is being recorded so that people can watch it also later on. And this is, I'm happy to welcome you to the kickoff meeting. So the first meeting of the first new learning club of the ETF community of innovative educators. I will explain you later what it means, what we mean with these new learning clubs, but we are very happy from the European Training Foundation about this development, and I'm here with my colleague Ermina Martini, and also with the colleagues from STEPS, Roberto and Marta, who will work with us during the day in facilitating, and also Medea and Merab, who will lead from a point of view of the content this new learning club. I would like to share with you the agenda of this meeting. Let me see if I find it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So after this very quick welcome, I will give the floor to Roberto for a small warm-up activity so that we get to know each other and we start this activity. Then we're going to have a presentation by Medea and Merab, who are our content leaders of this club from Georgia. They will introduce themselves, quickly presenting the issue of the theme of this new learning club, which is STEAM, so science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But I will not spoil about the different letters. I know that Merab has some slides on that. And then I will present you the working methods and what we aim to do with this learning club. So first part, presentations, to make sure that we all know what we are talking about, what we can get from this learning club, what all of us are supposed to contribute to this learning club. Don't worry, it's not a lot of work, but the idea is to really work together for some months on the issue of STEAM, and then we will move to the more collaborative part, basically the brainstorming, just to finalize a few issues of the club. Actually, we would like to define some important issues and items together with you. And finally, we're going to get some follow-up instruction on what are the next steps of the club by Roberto. So this will be the agenda. We promise that we will make it in 1 hour and a half, no more than that. In the meantime, I see more participants, so welcome to the others. And now I would like to give the floor to Roberto for the warm-up.
Thank you, Fabio. My name is Roberto Righi from STEPS, which is based in Bologna, in Italy. We are collaborating together with Marta Tibura for the promotion and animation of the ETF community of innovative educators. And in particular, we are here to promote and develop the clubs. We will go more in depth with the description of what the clubs are. I'm talking in plural because there are more than one club, but this is the first one to be launched, the one on STEAM education. And the clubs, as you will see afterwards, are group working, are based on exchange of people who meet and work together in order to get to some common results, which is of common interest. So we want to show you that this is not a set of webinars or conferences or events where you have many presentations, but it's basically a way to make people interact, socialize, and do some network. So I will start with a very short question for all of you, just to show you that we have to interact, we have to participate, we have to do something. Of course, this is just a check-in exercise to see that everybody, to show you that everybody can can contribute, can participate. So I'm launching the first question that you should see in your screen, in your Zoom screen. The question is, when you were a child, when you were attending school, would you ever expect to become a STEAM educator? Maybe you were hating math, or you were loving science.
But no third option, right? Okay.
No third option. So yes or no. So it's just a simple game exercise that there is no partial answer. So it's not maybe or. So maybe you wanted always, or you never thought about it. Maybe you were passionate about these kind of subjects, and maybe not. So this is just a way to show you how much it's important that you participate, that you contribute, that you can give your input. So we don't mind, of course, about the final question. This is not a statistic for statistical purposes, but it's curious to know how you answered. If you agree, I can conclude this survey, and I'm happy to share the results with you. You should see that exactly 1/3 of participants say that they always wanted. So it means that the most participants never thought about a career in the STEAM field. So that's the results, and you can see that with Zoom we can create this very simple kind of questions. The second and last one, it's about not an option, not a multiple choice option, but it's about writing in 1 or 2 words what you think could be a key ability to be successful in the STEAM field. No matter if it's about teaching STEAM or learning STEAM, about STEAM in general. If you think that there are some key skills, some key knowledge and ability that you consider fundamental in order to be successful in this kind of subjects, of matters. So you can, I think that you should have a blank section to fill in. In the meantime, I'm letting people come in. I'm happy to see that we are 27 now. And so, of course, this is just, as I said before, I'm explaining once again for the people who are connecting right now. We are making an exercise together with you to measure your level of interaction, and to also to know how much you think that some key ability can be important in order to be successful in the STEAM education. Oh, now we overcame 30, so we are 31. That's a good news. So I don't want to take too much time for this exercise. I don't know if somebody else want to write. Let's have half a minute more for your inputs. Of course, this we will not give you a mark for this exercise. Okay, let's conclude the survey also this time and share the results. I don't know if you can see the results.
Not yet.
No, not yet. I'm very curious.
I see.
Okay. If you cannot see, I can show you. I think it's easier.
No.
Sorry, I'm deactivate some audio. I think it's easier if I share you the results from the web page. So we have rigor, we have problem solving skills. Now you can see, I guess, right?
We can see your screen, yes.
You can see my screen. Maybe I can enlarge a little bit. Problem solving skills, creativity, critical thinking, technical proficiency. Something in Turkish I cannot translate. Creativity, sharing energy, strategy, strategy with virtual reality, multi-language avatar, support zero emission building implementation and learn to deliver process, motivated and love challenges, multidisciplinary connection with professions, analytical thinking, quick thinking. So I see that the logic of thinking is always present, logic and rational, critical and analytical thinking, inspiration, curious and inquisitive mind, collaborative and critical thinking skills, collaboration and innovation. So I think there are many common partners, creative and hardworking. So I see that creativity, critical thinking, analysis, capacity of being quick, rational, and inspired are the most common answers that we received, and this is very interesting. So thank you very much for your participation in this first exercise. As I said, we wanted to see your answers, and I think it was also useful because we can see that there are some common ways of thinking and some mindsets that are interesting to explore also afterwards. Now, I would like to start with the content of our first meeting of the STEAM Education Club. And now we have a contribution from our content leader, Medea Abramishvili, who is a doctoral researcher of STEAM education, also co-founder of educational STEAM programs, and developer of the company STEAMit. And also, last but not least, she's ambassador of the ETF community and ambassador of Scientix in Georgia. The second contribution is once again from Georgia, from Mr. Merab Labadze, who is professor at Ilia State University, Faculty of Arts and Sciences, and he teaches courses in innovation and technology. And he has a long professional experience in ICT policies, e-services development within government, business, and NGOs. So I give you the floor. I don't know who wants to be first for the presentation.
Or thanks.
And
Mr. Merab, you can start. Maybe it's better
Okay.
to introduce him.
do you want to share your presentation?
Yes, just a minute. I will.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Yes. Oh. Yeah, you can see it right now, right?
We can see. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So everyone is more or less involved in STEAM. It's like not new topic for the experts and the communities. And we'll try to create some difference, especially concentrating maybe on different aspects, but I'll try in my short presentation to give you understanding what was previously considered the A part of the STEAM word, and how can we go from here and discuss some innovation in STEAM during our working group short lifespan. Initially, this team itself was coined in the United States, but was then spread elsewhere. It's not that known as STEM, who everyone talks about, and there are many policies and many practices and cases in STEM, which means science, technology, engineering, and math. The need was to address some shortcomings in creative from aesthetic angles, which were lacking sometimes in STEM, and probably to make it more lively. But again, it brought some diversity, and we'll see what is considered under this A letter. So definitions also are quite different. I took one, which is from the New York State Educators Agency. It's an intentional collaborative pedagogy for teachers that empowers learners to engage in real-world experiences through the authentic alignment of standards, processes, and practices in science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. So you can see the usual words, which are both on the standardized size and the curriculum size, which are standards, processes, and practices, and more. Again, and it's connected to real-world experiences and the empowerment of the learnings and collaborative pedagogy already in the definition. One common point which is understood that STEAM and STEM don't constitute separate subjects, and it's rather creating again a holistic approach towards the science and trying to see the events or real-world events from this perspective and from this lens, and apply sometimes the project-based approach as well. So this diversity comes from understanding of A, and again, STEM is more developed in the policies, practices, and recommendations, strategies, and documents, case studies about STEM, but to the less extent about STEAM. So what is understanding of A? What exactly does it mean? Well, first one that comes to mind, and it's a very common definition, that it's arts in education. Then some started to question why only arts, and defined it as arts as any non-STEM discipline integrated to these STEM subjects. Also, there are some cases and some attitudes towards STEAM that it's arts, where arts equals project-based learning. Also, sometimes is a problem-based learning, and it could also be technology-based learning. And in the end, again, some creative boosting is coming from making makers movement and these experiences of practical, working on some practical solutions and practical tasks. So what are the goals of STEAM education? And I highlighted here to prepare active and functioning citizens. And it's presumed that we live in a scientific and technological-based society, and mostly it is true. Then promote educational activities focusing on designing, experiencing, learning, and problem solving. So again, you can see something from the 21st century framework here. Support development of transversal soft skills, such as creative thinking and communication. And we also had these answers in this short poll, which we had before.
Recording in progress.
Also to strengthen students' personal and social abilities to address labor market needs, which is becoming even more important recently with the arrival of AI, but we'll touch it in the end a little bit. So what are the main principles of STEAM? It's integrated content. It's, again, real-world integration. And also STEAM and beyond STEAM integrates fine arts, social studies, languages. It consists also, the principle is like inclusivity of STEAM education. And as I mentioned before, next generation or 21st century skills, which promotes problem-based solving, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, time management, and adaptability. And again, I highlighted here hands-on projects, which I guess are the most attractive part of STEAM education, that also STEM and STEAM education that motivates students to be really engaged. We continue here with principles. Again, authentic assessment, it's not new, it came from this digital education arrival in the education systems, and the portfolios are similar authentic assessment tools. Also, it's technology-enabled learning with emphasis on applied technologies. Again, teacher is a facilitator, and that's lots of literature, case studies, and examples of how teachers should be a good facilitator, motivator, and mediator for the students. It's a collaboration where group work is encouraged, And again, it's open-ended learning, which is not always formalized or not always implemented in formal education settings, but it's sometimes easier to implement in informal education when the final result is not predefined. And it should be supported with the ongoing professional development of the educators. So like the new vision came here, like today I was a little bit contemplating on this presentation, and I somehow recall that artificial intelligence also starts with A, and I decided to add this slide, which is what could be the future of STEM education, with AI or without AI? There is a separate club on AI and ETF community on innovative educators, but maybe we'll try as a separate stream of activity to think about the AI in STEM as well as a separate activity or a separate outcome. So what ChatGPT has answered to my question, how can AI help STEM education? I can see that all the same results are applicable to general answers of ChatGPT and not just general implementation of AI in education, which is, you can see here, personalized learning, interactive learning, automated assessment, adaptive curriculum, data analysis and visualization, robotics, automation, natural language processing, and we can also discuss something else here. And what is coming out from the traditional understanding of STEAM development before the AI era, it's further development of STEAM labs and makerspaces. It's focus in coding and computational thinking and gamification, plus again project-based learning across all subjects, plus more online virtual learning, which we had also in our answers, and partnerships with industry, and could be something else as well. So it's my attempt to set a stage, what was before, what could be done, and what could we think about. It's not by any means inclusive. It could exclude many other ideas that you might have, and we'll discuss them later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for a very interesting presentation, Merab, and I'll try to share now my presentation. First of all, I'm very happy to be with you. Do you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much. So, as it was mentioned, my life, both studying and work, is completely connected to this STEM. And because on one hand, I'm a doctoral researcher, and on another hand, I'm a representative of a LTD STEAMIT, which produces the education on the electronic constructors, and also we are working on programs, STEM programs. And why we have started, why is it startup company? Because it's a very new topic, let's say, for the Georgia, because because a lot of activities are done by government or by NGOs and other society, let's say, but still we don't have the general framework, how the STEAM or STEM should be implemented, what to do, and how to help teachers and not only to do this kind of work. So we, with Mamuka Apakidze, we have started this journey, let's say. And the first step, we started to do some research, and we have our framework, let's say, which we want to suggest to other. And also, of course, those studies are based on international studies as well. So there are a few main findings from those articles, let's say. And because we, as I mentioned, we don't have this general framework, let's say, what is STEM, and so on. In teachers, for example, it's very strange and it's very complicated. What is STEM? So they are starting doing the project, but still when you ask them what is STEM, they are, you say, for example, 22% say that it's PBL, it's only engineering and technology, it's learning by doing. So they don't have the a picture, the whole picture of what STEM can be. And also the
sorry, Medea, sorry for interrupting you. Could you share the presentation full screen, because
oh yeah, sure,
so we can see it better.
Here it's better.
Yeah, much better. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And another finding, what I find very interesting, is the attitude of school principals. For example, 49% of school directors are thinking that interdisciplinary nature of STEM diminishes the significance of each discipline. In contrast, 18% held a neutral stance, while 44% disagrees with this answer. And of course, there is a problem, and it's a challenge for schools to fund and encourage this kind of activities because they lack of money. But still, there are a lot of possibilities, let's say, which are given from the organizations. If a director wants to develop the school in this STEM or STEM direction, they can, let's say. But still, we don't have this, let's say, strategic plan or something like this. And I want to share let's say, good news to you, because we also try to increase access to STEM in remote villages and settlements, because, for example, in Georgia, we have a lot of several, let's say, more than 5 tech parks, fab labs in big cities, but the people outside of big cities, they lack of access to STEM, so materials and the theoretical part, what to do and how to do. So we try to increase this awareness, and also we are starting in a few months a huge project about STEM concept for university educational programs development with 2 public universities, because we also think that if your teacher, if you want to have a high professional teacher in STEM, you also should prepare them on the university level. So let's see what will be from this project. And thank you for attention. I'm very happy to be co-leader with Merab. So best of luck to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Medea. Thank you, Merab, for your contribution. This is an introduction to the main themes, the main topics that we will share, that we will talk about during the work of these clubs. I see Fabio giving an input in the chat. This could help people who are maybe not so fluent in English. There is one of the function in the new version of Zoom, creating automatic subtitles. Of course, the translation will not be 100% reliable, but it is something. So you can get your subtitles, especially when somebody speaks in the language that you can identify. And I think that most languages are covered here. And you can find in one of the buttons at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You see 3 dots, and then you can click. You have a drop-out menu, and you can choose subtitles. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now I think that it's time for introducing what clubs are, what are the objectives, and what will happen next. Please, Fabio.
Okay. Thank you very much from my side as well. You heard an input on the content of the club, and thank you to our Georgian leaders of this club. Now, I will tell you very briefly the logic and working mechanism of the club. Keep in mind that this is the first new learning club that we launch at the ETF, so we like to consider ourselves as a pilot group. In case you have comments also on the mechanism, feel free to comment. And I just see my slide, so in case somebody wants to speak, Roberto maybe or Marta, let me know. So first of all, in terms of background, the club, the New Learning Club, is part of the ETF community of innovative educators. You should all be members of this community. If not, at the end of this presentation, I will leave a link for you to register. This is important, mainly not to miss any news of the activity, about the activity that we run. Now, why STEAM or STEM, or let's say STEAM? This is a theme that came up many times during the first 2-3 years of the community of innovative educators. We organized a couple of webinars, and as Merab was saying before, STEAM is getting more and more important, STEAM subjects, for all those competencies like critical thinking, analytical thinking, and so on, that are getting more and more central in also employability terms. So it emerged as a theme, and two community ambassadors from Georgia, so you just heard them, Merab and Medea, who are very much connected to STEAM development in the country, proposed to go more in depth. We had a number of discussions, and we decided to focus the work of a group of members of the community on the issue of STEAM. We launched a simple expression, call for expression of interest. 147 participants replied. We are now 30 something in this group, but the idea is that we would like to keep this group very inclusive. So if somebody, for example, could not attend today's webinar because of other commitment, this does not mean that the person is excluded from the club. Simply, at the end of the club, you will see, at the end of the life of the club, we will know who has contributed to the work, and we can tell at the end who are actually the members. But if you miss one webinar, don't worry. We count with a starting group of almost 150 innovators, which is actually a very good number. Now, what is the objective of the club? The objective of the club is to share practices, to share ideas through webinars and through online documents that we will show you at the end of this webinar. Among innovative educators, we want to share new STEAM teaching methods, new STEAM approaches, and what is new about this club is that at the end of the 6 months of the work of the club, we want to produce a practical outcome, something really tangible. So imagine the community is now composed, the ETF community of innovative educators is composed by almost 1,400 participants. 170 are interested in STEAM specifically. We will be working together and we will produce an outcome, which can be, here you see a couple of ideas that we would like to discuss with you later, that will be then promoted among all the community members and in other communities dealing with both STEM, STEAM, and innovative teaching. The outcome will be something very simple. We all know that this is voluntary work. We are all enthusiasts of teaching innovation, so we cannot ask you too much. But what we think we should be doing is a collection of new teaching practices of STEAM subjects, and we like the idea of low tech together with high impact, but again, this can be discussed later on, and to integrate them in a sort of a toolkit or a STEAM playbook that can help teachers in the subjects of STEAM to teach in more innovative ways through guidelines, through scenarios, through technological tools, and other ideas. So the idea, very simple, is that a small group of experts, in this case of STEAM, work together for 6 months. You will see in a very low intensity, and then produce something for the whole community and for all other STEAM educators. Who we are, as you just heard from Medea and Merab, who are the content leaders, they are the real STEAM experts who are leading the club. Then in terms of monitoring and facilitation, it is myself, Fabio Nascimbeni, with Roberto Righi and Marta Tibura from Steps, and my colleague Ermina, who is not there but will also help us along the journey. And on the right, you see all of you. So this is a group of people to whom where we did not put faces yet, but at the end, in the report of the club, of course, your work will be recognized. The club will actively last 6 months, so starting from May until the end of October this year, and we'll work after this preparatory phase that we was discussing before, the expression of interest and the launch. It will work through, as you can see there, catch-up webinars, more or less once per month, one in May that is taking place now, one in June, one in July. We will most probably not have a webinar in August, and then one in September, and finally an open webinar, a large webinar in August to present the results of the club. Hello? Yes. Yes. And then together with these webinars, we will also have face-to-face events. We will be present in the STEM Woman event in Milano at the end of May, and we will be present in a STEAM event in Georgia in mid-June. And if you will see later, you want to propose other events where we can join forces, that is also possible. And of course, at the end, as we said, we will produce and develop this simple outcome that will give a sign of what such a community can do. What you will get by participating into this work, you will hear about new teaching ideas, new ways of teaching math, new tools that you can use if you're teaching physics, and you might want to use a specific digital tool, for example, and so on and so forth. And of course, including art and new ways of using art intended as, for example, theater. I know that one of the members of the club is a former winner of our ETF 2022 competition, Sedia, who is here with us. And so her work is built on theater, for example. Then you will get exposure to new possible projects, so new ideas of collaboration projects, new possible funding in the area of STEAM. You will get some visibility for your work, and if you contribute, you will get an open badge, the open badge of Pioneer that you can see there. We are delivering open badges to innovators, we are delivering open badges to ambassadors, and the Pioneer open badge is really the top badge for not only innovators, but innovators who commit to work together with others. So all the active participants in this club will receive this Pioneer open badge. Now, what are you expected to do in order to be an active member of the club? Number one, you should share your STEAM teaching practice one way or another. You can share it in a few lines, you can share a link. The important thing is that you share it in an understandable way for the community. Working language will be English. Unfortunately, we cannot translate everything, but everything that will happen will be reported in our open space website, and there you can use automatic translation, so you can follow even if English is not your specialty. In the monthly webinars, we will have discussions about practices, we will work to prepare the outcome, and we will also discuss possible new projects and new collaborations. And this will be more or less one per month, excluding August. Then we have created already a shared document where you will start to contribute to the outcome of the club. So if the outcome will be, for example, a toolkit based on practices with the leading role of Merab, Medea, and others, of course, we would like all of us, to contribute to this document. And some selected practices will be selected, in fact, to speak at the final open webinar. So you see, it's not a lot of work. It's basically a few minutes to share what you do and some of your time basically to learn, to get connected to other practitioners, and to contribute to a document. We are all teaching professionals and experts, so we know that this is not a very heavy burden. We would like to keep this as light as possible. The good news is that we are not alone in this journey. We are collaborating with Scientix, is the community for science education in Europe, is one of the largest, possibly the largest STEAM community in the world. And some of you, for example, Medea, are also ambassadors of Scientix. And Scientix could be a way to guarantee a future of this club. This club might then live within Scientix as a special interest group. We can connect to other discussions there, but we can also live or we can also develop the club at the national level. So what is happening, the outcome might be then translated in different languages and used at the national level. And also through projects that might appear and be discussed during the club life. The important thing is that we will decide among ourselves if and how we want to continue. What we can guarantee is the animation and the support for these 6 months. And during the meetings, we will also discuss how you see the possible future of the club. As Roberto was saying, this club is starting now at the very end of April. We have a new learning club on teaching with artificial intelligence that is starting in June, that will be led by 3 ambassadors from Turkey. And we have, I saw before Selçuk, one of the 3 ambassadors present in this meeting. So good to have you here, Selçuk. And this will also last for 6 months. And then starting after the European summer break, we're going to have a new learning club on inclusive teaching for adults, upskilling and reskilling. And we are still working on that. That will be most probably coordinated from Serbia, but we'll have some news soon. Here, an important link: if you are not a member of the ETF, Community of Innovative Educators, we will put it also in the chat. Just click there, register. It takes 3 minutes, and then you will be kept informed about all the developments of this club we are in now, but also on the new ones. So, in a nutshell, being part of this club, first of all, is voluntary, very important. Nobody is getting paid for this, but you can gain in terms of visibility, new projects, and especially and the open badge, and especially the possibility to collaborate internationally to produce something that can be useful for other educators in your country and in other countries. I think I will close here, and I am ready for questions in case you have. I know this is a new concept that we are actually testing now. As you know, the Community of Innovative Educators has organized many activities, but this year we really want to structure our work through these new learning clubs. And we are the pilot, so we are the guinea pigs. So feel free to propose ideas and to have questions. No question is a wrong question. And also, if you have suggestions, feel free to let us know. I see some links going on. Thank you for sharing. If you have any question for
just to
yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't know. Can I ask a question?
Please, Hedia. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It is just to ask. You mentioned that we can propose presentation about our innovative work. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any planning, or we can propose such webinar or such communication?
The first yes, in the first phase, basically after this webinar, we will collect the practices. So we will collect your teaching methods, your teaching ideas, your new things in the field of STEAM. And Then, of course, we will share this through a table so that everybody can see what the others are doing. And maybe, Hedia, you will find that there is a colleague, you are from Tunisia, you will find that there might be a colleague in Georgia or in Turkey that you might want to connect with because you have something in common. And then at the same time, we will also sort of crowd vote the practices. So we will say, let's say, discuss which practices are more interesting, and then we will select some of these practices for the final to be presented in the final event in the final webinar, and in some of the events we will attend along the lifetime of the club. So of course, when we will, this is important for our form, when we will ask you to fill in your practice, we will also ask you if you are interested in presenting this practice internationally. So that will be very, very valuable for us. Absolutely. Thanks. Any other question?
May I ask?
Please.
Yeah, sorry, we have very bad internet connections here, and maybe you have mentioned, but I didn't hear, so that's why my question about possibility of participating or to be engaged with more than one club. So given the focus of the new learning club on enhancing like skills on critical thinking, creativity, collaboration. So I would like to ask, is it possible to be engaged with more than one club? For example, I'm interested in artificial intelligence as well.
Yes, the answer is yes, it is possible, and not only possible, it is encouraged, of course. The clubs, again, are excuses to discuss things, but as Merab was specifying before, for example, artificial intelligence is itself a tool that STEAM teachers can use, and at the same time, as you say, the competencies are very similar, are very connected. So absolutely, actually, it will be it's very advisable if you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any more question?
So we know it's a brand new format, and I think that we will build it together thanks to your contribution. So don't be shy to give your input, to give your feedback, to participate. And as Fabio was underlining since the beginning, we want to build something together. So we would like to make people participate, interact, give ideas, share practices, and create maybe the nice soil for future projects together, for future collaborations. And at the end of this period, of this club period, also create something tangible that we can share with the wider audience, and there will be some kind of multiplier events during which we will present this output. So I think that it will be a nice adventure together. And but if you have some doubts, if you have something more that you would like to know, please don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, and then I forgot to say that Scientix will be with us from the very beginning. Now the coordinator of Scientix is not with us today, but they will participate in our webinars. So it is also, the club is also a way to be visible in that very large community. So we are well connected there, and we promise them that not only our outcome, but also the ideas and the practice that we find will be shared with them. So be reassured that we have a very open channel with this European, well, global community. Actually, it's led by Europe, but it's a global community. So that's also a very important point for visibility, for future projects, e-twinning projects, and other similar things. Feel free also to ask about that. Good. If there are no questions, in any case, we will then share a document that will be like the diary of the club. So in case you have questions, then you can either ask them by email or put them in that document. So no need for everything to be clear now. Let's take our time.
Well, I can give you my take on that. You know, it's again new activity, but I imagine it like there is a community of innovative educators of different countries, and often there is untapped opportunity of the horizontal cooperation. So something might be going in some other country that I don't know, and it could be very useful to my work or in general. And the second take is again, especially again with this arriving of AI and cross-fertilization, I would say. So something to maybe might try to imagine something new and innovative in this field, especially considering that it's consists itself, this innovation, arts and creativity, and so to enhance it more a little bit. As for the outcomes, so we'll see how it goes. So it could be, we discussed the policy documents, but there are plenty of policy documents. I guess it could be more like living practices or something, something really to share, or some new collaboration, or some even we can try to pilot some initiative and seek funding if it works out in the end. So I'm happy to be the first. That we didn't expect that much. We were just active with media, proposing some activities or measuring some clubs. We were also managing here, researching them, and it resulted in this kind of new activity. And hopefully everyone finds something important and useful for himself, herself. And again, we'll have today also some interactive activity which will break the ice, I guess, a little bit more.
Thank you very much, Merab. That's exactly the spirit, absolutely. Roberto, I give the floor to you now for the brainstorming activity, no? To finally define the last points on the club with the participants.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. What does brainstorming activity mean? Means that we would like to involve you in finding out some challenges, some common patterns, some possible solutions, even under the big umbrella of teaching STEAM and using STEAM in education. So that's why we created a map, a visual tool that will help us to work together. And, okay, sorry. And to find solutions all together, to collaborate, and this will be a first hint, a first step in order to show how we think to collaborate. So sharing practices, sharing ideas, feedback, and so on. So of course, as we know, this is a very informal activity. Everybody is asked to participate. Don't be shy. Give your input, give your ideas, raise your hand, write your feedback, and so on. And to facilitate this work, we are now split into groups. You know, with Zoom there is the possibility of having secondary sessions, so we will not be in the same room anymore, but we will be split into different rooms, breakout rooms, and we will be facilitated by us. One room will be facilitated by Fabio and Merab, the other one by Medea and Marta and me. And you will receive now in a minute a kind of invitation. You just have to click OK, so you will be thrown in the secondary room, and then we will show you what we have in mind. So there will be a visual tool, a map, a Canva map that we will collaborate with. It will be shared on the screen, but also there will be a link where you can go in and chat and write post-it and so on. So it's an easy exercise, but we think that it can be useful to start working together, to see what are the challenges, what are the needs of the groups, who are you, and so on. And then at the end of this exercise, we will come back to this plenary session and we will share the results. So if you If you are ready, I will send you to the rooms. I prepared 2 rooms. Of course, it's more or less random. If anybody, for some reason, is in the plenary room, don't worry, don't be afraid. I will send you to the one or to the other, but maybe this is because you joined us later than the creation of the rooms. So.
Yes, we can start. I will try to share also the screen. Okay, I hope you can see. So very fruitful discussion, I think, about challenges. Quite many has been mentioned, and the main was a lack of, very often it's lack of understanding what STEM is. So when we start from this, of course, this is the main point also highlighted by Medea in the presentation. So still lack of awareness about STEM approach and lack of resources. And a kind of the problem is that teachers very often have to do and create resources by themselves, which creates a huge workload for them, and it's really time consuming. And what else? Another question is connected with the multidisciplinarity of the STEM approach, which means that teachers need to collaborate. So there is a big interaction of disciplines, and not very often it is easy to implement in the school. And what else? Medea mentioned also the challenge with assessment of the results, and talking about proposing solutions. What the teachers ask is our resources, so trustful resources, ready learning scenarios, ready resources that they can find, new innovative strategies on assessment. Very welcome is the training of teachers, because they need to be trained. They need to exchange interesting ideas with other teachers from other contexts. And yes, funding. So some kind of new partnerships, new ideas are very welcomed. And what has been the other point important is also the school management, the importance of school management to put focus on this kind of approach, because otherwise only a single teacher is not enough, let's say. So kind of strategies, kind of interesting initiatives, exchange of this kind of ideas, practices coming from other countries would be very much welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marta. Very interesting and well, very rich. Many inputs. Fabio Merab, would you like to shortly recap what happened during the session? I was attending part of it.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to do it. We also produced discussed a few challenges. We basically mostly focused on the challenges. I would say from both a technical component, not so much. We didn't discuss so much the awareness issue, but the technical component in terms of equipment and facilities and connectivity. And we discussed the issue of content and resources in national languages, which is also a theme, because automatic translations can do something, but maybe not let's say, perfect job for our students. And then we started discussing along the challenges, effects, and possible solutions that I can actually share. Yes, it is there. Let me share it. So while I speak, you can see it. Yes, I hope you can see it. We also started discussing the kind of outcome that we would like to see, because of course challenges are useful also not only to to know where we are, but to know which kind of outcome we should produce, because of course, if a number of things emerge that can be easily or potentially easily solvable, for example, if the issue is obsolete technology and you can have some low-tech solutions which exist, which are free and which can be translated, it is already a possible solution that we could put there. But also we discussed the issue of policy. There was a comment, a very important comment, I think, on the fact that from the bottom, from the practices, we can do a lot, but not everything. So it might include also a snapshot of ideas or recommendations or desiderata at the policy level. And this, I think, is a very good idea. So to have, starting from the challenges, both some practical solutions or possible solutions, but also some policy solutions there. I think also, yeah, very good contributions, and I would like to thank the members of the team. I don't know, Merab, if you want to say something. I'm sharing the screen.
Yeah, well, we also touched this multidisciplinarity problem that not all teachers are prepared to do so. The methodology is not quite clear, and the national curriculum doesn't recognize often this work as a valid educational activity, and it's left to extracurricular activities, and it's overlaps a little bit with the second group of work. And yeah, otherwise, I think this both touching both sides, like practitioners and policies, is also important because we're trying to avoid these big policy papers, but if it's very practical, good, and justified policy advice by the group of experts, we can have some mechanisms from the ETF side or the countries cooperating somehow to at least to showcase or to push or to voice it up and advocate for it.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, that's possibly the main elephant in the room, the multidisciplinarity issue, and connected also to the understanding, a proper understanding. Yeah. Okay, I think time is almost done. Roberto, do you want to recap a bit and next steps?
Well, okay, so I hope you got the main focus and the main message from these clubs. As Fabio was saying before, if you have questions, we are always available. And what happens next? As we said before, the club should meet from time to time, let's say at least once per month. So there will be a next meeting. With a different agenda, because of course this was the kickoff. We had to explain the objectives, we had to explain the outputs, and we had also to know a little bit who the participants are. But there will be a next meeting date and time to be defined, but we will let you know as soon as possible. As we said before, content leader are Medea and Merab, and we will facilitate, of course, as we are doing today. And we thought about possible homework, so something to bring for the next meeting. Maybe the next meeting will have also some flash in terms of presentations, contributions. So we will start this sharing of practices. We will start thinking about the possible final outcome. So it will be a very operative and I hope fruitful and efficient meeting. And we will share with you the this simple spreadsheet where you can start writing your practice. So do you have a nice practice in terms of STEAM education? You can write the title here, short, describe the practice. What do you need to scale up your practice? Maybe your practice was just meant for a classroom. It was very, very small exercise, very small experience, but you would like to extend to a wider number of people. Okay, perfect. We need something, and ideas and proposals for collaborations and projects for networking and so on. So this is something that we can ask that we want to ask you for filling in before the next meeting. So we, together with the content leaders, will analyze what we have. Maybe I'm sure we will have very interesting practices, because when we asked most of you to fill in the registration form, you already wrote very interesting examples of practices, so we have them. And you can report them once again, and maybe we can decide to contact you or to ask you for a small presentation, or we can decide to put them in a future case studies book, something like that. So please feel free to write your experience here. Maybe the best we can do would be to share in an email, because I'm afraid that if we share it now in the chat, maybe it will be lost as soon as Zoom is closed. So we will send you a kind of thank you letter with all the information, with all the presentation, and the link to the Excel file, if you all agree. And of course, we have your email when you register to get the Zoom link. Maybe there was a question from anybody.
I see an agreement in the chat. And
okay.
So I think, I mean, I was calculating before if in between every webinar we put in half an hour each of us, we will reach more than 2 months of full-time work. So actually, you know, it's with a minimum commitment from all of us, even from the ones that are here. But then, of course, the group can grow. We can let's say create a interesting set of knowledge. And the first homework, I think, is rather easy, because it is about describing your work, the work that you are doing, or the work that you would like to do. Because if one of the barriers that you mentioned before of the challenges is preventing you from doing something, feel free to put it there as well. I think we should be open to that as well. And then based on that, so based on the practices, in the next meeting, we will come already after having discussed with some, let's say, preliminary classifications, I would say, of what could be done, starting from what we have in the team. I think it's, as far as I am concerned, I'm rather satisfied with this work until now. I think we have good basis. Any more question? Thank you, Roberto, for sharing the spreadsheet. Merab, Medea, any question, any last minute idea?
Just in case, I'm sharing in the chat, but as I said, you will receive an email with all the information. And if you don't receive anything, please don't hesitate to write to us. I think you find all the information in the main club webpage.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you
one
very
idea
much.
that in the end came to me, but I'll still is the new one. It's close to Medea, which what they're doing with Steemit, and it's commercial tools for promoting STEM and STEAM. So there's a market for that, and it's leading market, so it contributes definitely for the it's kind of it's neither informal education activity nor formal, but it's more like contributor to that. So maybe to somehow think about these connections, whether it influences and these formal education settings and the knowledge. It definitely should, but again, as the parents invest in that, and it's fun, it's a gaming element of fun, but it's a business as well. So if there's money for that, they should have some influence and some contribution. But again, it's on the Medea's and her partner Mamuka's side to what extent these tools are influencing the STEM education outcomes as well. More question.
Yeah, I think we should be open to that. I mean, and let's see if we can find also some examples of some informal or non-formal practice based on commercial tools. Why not? I mean, commercial or semi-commercial. Khan Academy, for example, started in Steam, and it's a non-for-profit, but it's living out of donations, so it is sort of commercial in its own way, and it's a success story. So absolutely good idea. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gulshum, Nana, Hava, Saeda, Maka, and I will stop here. That's who is on my screen at the moment. And as was said before, see you in around a month time. And in the meantime, don't forget your homework. You will receive an email by Roberto in the next days. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.